Welcome to MojoPlays, Josh here, and today we're counting down our picks for the scariest moment from every Resident Evil game. For this list, we'll be looking at the single top scariest and memorable moment from every mainline game and remake, though excluding spin-offs for now. If you want that list in another video, let us know in the comments. Join me for a walk down spooky lane. Be warned, potential spoilers ahead. Resident Evil Dog Attack. I know, this may not seem like much nowadays, but this moment scared the pants off of countless Resident Evil first-timers. There wasn't quite anything like it. This onslaught to the senses is the definition of 0 to 100. Picture this, you're roughly half an hour deep into this mansion of slow, gray, shambling monsters. You hear near complete silence. To an abrupt, chaotic orchestra when killer dogs repeatedly throw themselves through glass windows to chase you down. Resident Evil 2 Loading Screen Scare. In case you haven't been privy to the early games of the series, loading screens used to consist of only a virtual door or staircase that would animate to signal your character's move into the next room. In a series first, Claire is unexpectedly rushed by a pair of zombies met with insane music known on the OST as Screaming Target. I suggest you check it out. Following loading screens could never be trusted again. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Nemesis breaks in. If Nemesis wasn't frightful enough, just based on visual design alone, his ability to Spider-Man himself into any scene gives terrifying mobility to this massive hunk of meat. Upon your first encounter, Jill can choose to run or fight. Regardless of your decision, the threat to your character outside the police station has been established. Good thing he couldn't possibly fit through a door. Resident Evil Code Veronica, Alexia Type 2. For the record, the developers consider Code V a direct sequel, so we're counting it. This title went for a subtle gothic horror tone, and you'll not find many over-the-top scares. That said, a highly intelligent clone, Alexia, morphs into some highly unpleasant forms by forcing her body to evolve and fuse with, quote, mutant breeder pod larva. Oh, nasty. Finally taking the form of a bulbous, pincered humanoid dragonfly. Most beasts in Resident Evil don't begin life beautiful, so Alexia has been a uniquely unfortunate example.
Move it! Oh!
Resident Evil 0 Leech People. Without contest, all you need to hear is the horrible squirming sound of mutant leeches vacating a human body to want to leave this mortal realm. The leeches will not only crawl all over your character in some stages of the game, but can even take humanoid form to become a nearly indestructible foe. It doesn't help that along with their resistance to bullets, its limbs will stretch to reach you, accompanied by a full orchestra complete with violin and choir trying to give you a heart attack. Resident Evil Remake Crimson Head's Rise. So, you're up against a house full of zombies. Fine, make them red. Alright, make them uncomfortably fast. Wait, health and damage boost too, of course, up to a maximum of 2,600, more than double that of Jill's. Oh boy. Even those expert at tank controls by this point may still fall prey to this new remake-specific enemy of Spencer Mansion. Worst of all is the fear that settles in as any zombie can become a Crimson Head if not properly disposed of. They may be the middle stage between zombie and liquor, but they're all parts horrifying. Resident Evil 4 Regenerator Lab. The fourth numbered game in the franchise is no stranger to scares, the greatest of which belongs to these 7-feet SCP lookalikes and their older sister, the Iron Maiden. The first of these terrors you encounter is left out just long enough that players might think it's another set piece. A few minutes later, and a heavy-breathing Slenderman with jaws is lumbering towards you. As you may have guessed based on the name, they won't die easily and can grow back missing body parts. Both variants can kill our hero in all sorts of nasty ways, so it's reasonable to assume this enemy was invented to scare away any child who dares test its M rating. Resident Evil 5: Irving's Full Potential. Although I do hate to give it to Mr. Extreme Makeover here, this title steps away from the horror formula and leans towards strict action-adventure, beyond your standard zombie horde or liquor fight. This boss's fear factor stems from the classic fear of deep water. You don't exactly get to see the full size of it, or exactly where it will erupt from the water during battle. And if this were an earlier game, I could see it being played for scares, especially if it got you killed and drowned for not looking in the right direction in time. Irving's mutated form takes elements from a giant squid, an alligator, and a snake, although giving the player 2 Gatling guns really takes away from any feeling of helplessness. Truthfully, depending on who's playing, any standard zombie could be your scariest moment from RE5. Resident Evil 6: Bioterror in Little China. Following suit from the prior entry, the enemy designs here are much more akin to what you'd see in an arcade shooter. Big, over-the-top beasts and bugs, folks. However, Giant Snake Aluzja pulls a bit of a predator on players, picking off your squadron one by one while using an active camo. If you're afraid of snakes in general, this boss will be a hard one to get through, as you're constantly hunted by hissing that echoes throughout the tight corridors of the map. This game's bosses ran the risk of being silly over scary, such as the Carla Spores, who became a living building. Resident Evil 7: Biohazard. Marguerite just won't die.
Now with me, we're gonna settle this!
If the bugs swarming her body weren't bad enough already, the mother to the Bakers uses every trick in the book to terrify Ethan Winters. Her limbs stretch to inhuman proportions. She'll break through windows, crawl on walls like an insect, lay spiders, flies, and just be a generally horrible sight. The fight with Mia in RE7 may be more traditional horror, but the battle in the greenhouse will make even the strongest-willed players scream, "Just die already, please." Resident Evil 2 Remake: Mr. X is a stalker. We did an entire video right here on MojoPlays on how this black-clad beast brings out the scariest moments of the RE franchise. Due to the improved sound design of this remake and ability to appear at any moment, this tyrant makes for the perfect slasher villain. Besides the fact he'll brutally pummel you to death with his fists instead, forcing players into a deadly game of chase. Fun fact, Mr. X is always loaded in.
Always.
Resident Evil 3 Remake: Hunter Gamma Sewers. As Jill gets a visual upgrade, so do the creatures that lurk beneath the streets. What were once funny frogmen have evolved into repulsive walking slugs from your nightmares. The Gammas this time around are one of the few surprising insta-killing enemies of RE3 Remake. Seeing this amphibian slither out of the drain in the sewers of Raccoon City planted the idea that no future drain pipe was safe. Fighting more than one of these monstrosities head-on is tricky, as they can swiftly gulp you up, so I hope you are paying attention to the reason they were thrown away to begin with. Resident Evil 8 Village: The Baby is Hungry. So, how many of us were really ready for the torment that awaited innocent new players in the Dollmaker's basement? The entire Castle Dimitrescu portion, while being beautifully designed, was straight up a good time in regards to being hunted. Cut to a lovely Romanian workshop and... Jeez Louise, a giant bloody fetus that devours you if you lose its game of hide and seek? Hate that! You get the choice of hiding underneath the bed or in the closet while it moans various phrases such as... which is both everyone's childhood fears come true of the monster in the dark, meets every could-be parent's fever dream. Without a doubt, surviving this chase leaves you mentally exhausted, and it will last as one of gaming's greatest horror sequences thus far.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.